Hello, здравствуйте, so в порядке, ничего страшного. That was a little bit of Russian intro there. Lived in Russia for quite a long time, actually. A lot of Americans are kind of clueless about what goes on in the world. You encounter that, you talk to them, it's like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Whereas Europeans are more tuned in to what's happening in the world. And that's not attacking Americans. Long before the United States existed, by the way, yeah, long before, Europe was nothing but a bunch of different peoples fighting amongst each other since the dawn of time. So I kind of love it when the Europeans attack America for stirring things up in the world or always wanting a fight. I kind of find that funny. It's like, before America existed, Europe did nothing but fight each other since the dawn of time. That's not the point of this video. Talking about Russia and what's happening there. I told everybody for the past month and a half that the invasion would happen right around the 15th, and now dailymail.uk said it's going to happen this coming Wednesday, which is what, 4.5 days from now. So I was right. Now if it does happen or it doesn't happen, I mean, I'm not eager for at all, of course. I have some Ukrainian friends and I have more Russian friends too, but people have been telling me, it's like, it's not going to happen. An enormous amount of people told me on Instagram and Facebook, so this is not going to happen. It's like, yeah, it is going to happen. And most Americans, if they know, they really don't care. But people don't realize how destabilizing, especially Americans, how destabilizing something can be. I mean, do you have any idea how World War I started? You might want to research your history there. So anyway, I told everybody this. By the way, why is it going to happen right around the 15th of February? The reason for that is there's nothing on this earth. There might be one thing. Not even a crane. A crane isn't even close, by the way. Nothing on this earth heavier per square foot, so far as a man-made, moving vehicle, anything other than a tank. And they didn't want the tanks to get bogged down, and the ground there doesn't reach maximum firmness until right around the 15th of February. So people were asking me, say, why would they wait? Why is it going to happen now? Well, not only were they bringing a bunch of stuff up to 3 different fronts, people don't realize there's not just a front in Russia. There's a front against Ukraine in 3 different places: Belarusia, Russia, yeah, and Crimea, yeah. Crimea, of course, used to be part of Ukraine, but I remember people back in the day when they were talking about go rolling into Crimea, which is on the Black Sea, and I've been there twice. Been to Ukraine a couple times also. And they said, that's not going to happen. It's like, yeah, it is. Of course, now it's been property of Mother Russia since 2014, isn't that correct? So, price per barrel of oil has gone up to 95. I've already noticed, and that was just like less than a day ago. And gas prices have already spiked here in central Kentucky. So what happens in Ukraine, and right now it's just imminent. There was actually huge. Not that I believe politicians or they're talking mouthpieces. I don't. But every major European government, including New Zealand, yeah, on the other side of the earth completely, from Ukraine, yeah, said, get the bleep out of Ukraine now, 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 now. So it's going to happen within a week or less, presumably sometime next week. I mean, it could even happen on Sunday. It could happen tomorrow, for all we know. I can think of, just from the perspective of Mother Russia, okay? I'm not saying I advocate it one way or the other. I had so many unintelligent comments from, me talking about this. I'm not taking any position. So why would Russia roll hard on Ukraine? I get just off the top of my head, from the perspective of the Kremlin and Mother Russia specifically. People said, oh, there's a Russian actually left a comment on Instagram And I love the Russian people. I mean, I know them really well, having lived amongst them for a long time. This Russian человек said, "Ну что ты?" He said it in English, though. Excuse me. That's how you say, "What's wrong with you?" in Russian. "Ну что ты?" I said to me, he said, "The Russian people are not behind this." It's like, what does that mean? You know, most of the stuff the United States government does, and this is a democracy, yeah? Russia is not a democracy. I'm not taking a position one way or the other. But America is a democracy, and you know that what people do in Washington, most Americans are not behind either. So how is that support for your position? I mean, it's completely sumashedshie, which means crazy. You know, the government does what the government wants to do, so most Russians are not behind this. What difference does that make? What the White House does, most Americans are not behind either. It's not a support for your position, you know, like it's not going to happen. It is going to happen. The U.S., however, is inflaming this thing. Right now they have, the White House has said, there's no troops in Ukraine. Well, there are. They're just a distinction without a difference for being called military advisors. That's what they said. I don't know if you remember the days of Vietnam, even that's before my time even. They said, oh, we got no troops in, what was it, Laos or Burma? We got no troops over there. It's like, no, they are troops, except they're not calling them troops. They're called military advisors. Same thing we got now in Ukraine, which is apparently like 600. Here's another fact. I forgot to put this on my short list of what's happening in on the front of the imminent invasion of Ukraine, is that I know several people that their brother or their immediate family member has already been emergency called up and they're headed off. 2 of which I know are headed to Poland. Where's the other one going? One's going to, no, 2 are going to Germany. Was it Lamstuhl? Isn't that, it's like, I shouldn't have asked the question why they were going there. But they were emergency called up. So, and that's just me with my few number of people that I know that have, you know, active military members. You know, here in central Kentucky. So just little old me with the few people that I know that have military, those people have been called up, emergency called up, and they're headed off to Europe, Poland and to Deutschland. So, interesting. I'm not saying there's plane loads of troops, but there are plane loads of something from the United States. There's tons and tons and tons of evidence. This is not like politician blather, which is usually lies. Tons and tons of evidence of this. Countless, endless plane loads of for weeks now of Javelin rockets. I don't know if you know what a Javelin is. It's a huge sucker. It's anti-tank. It's also something else. I don't know if it's not laser guided. Anyway, it has an advanced system in it that when you lock on to a target, you know, look up what a Javelin is. It's an enormous personnel shoulder-fired jobby. I think it takes 2 people as support for one Javelin. One person to pull all the plugs and flip all the switches, and another person to... somehow it barely fits on your shoulder. So the United States has been sending plane load after plane load after plane load after plane load of Javelin rockets to Ukraine. And, also, too, I've seen tons of evidence of this. Plane load after plane load after plane load of green military ammo containers. Actually, I've got a couple of they're about yay big. They're not the normal ones like that. They're those big suckers yeah. So, United States, that's what we call that, is a proxy war, you know? We got 600 troops in Ukraine, but they're not troops really. They're military advisors. Also, too, this has already been confirmed, that there are spec ops like Delta Force, meaning Delta Force and some advanced teams in Ukraine saying, you know, if this happens, we do, you know, hardcore military strategists from the United States helping us. So that's a proxy war. This is really a case of the tail wagging the dog, big time, by the way. I don't care if you... Also, too, I had an enormous amount of unintelligent comments when I talked about this in the past. People say, yeah, this is all USA's fault. Now, USA is inflaming things. But the United States doesn't have 130,000 troops on 3 different fronts, Belarusia, Russia, and Crimea, you know, poised to roll hard with countless hundreds and hundreds of tanks, literally. And you know, enormous, there's some special tanks. I forget the name of them, but there's evidence of those at the front These special tanks with a super huge bore. They actually fire tank-fired nukes. I'm not saying that Russia is going to fire tank-fired nukes, but that's what these tanks are known for. There's a special name for them. I apologize, I forget. So they're these low-yield, like 4-kiloton tank-fired. They fire nukes. I seriously, seriously doubt that that's going to happen. But those tanks are at the front. Nuke-capable tanks with an enormously huge bore. I forget the name of them. Here's a fact. Putin said, and I'm not against Putin one way or the other. I love the Russians, and I'm definitely not against it, because a lot of Americans, if you're Russian or European, Europeans and Russians know that America's like, hey, friggin', Russians. I'm not like that at all. I lived over there. I got lots of Russian friends, so that's just completely ludicrous. I'm not against Russia. I don't want anybody to take this way as like some sort of inflammatory thing, but it's not the United States that has 130,000 troops on 3 different fronts with Ukraine. Yeah, but for the military-industrial complex, let me tell you this, boy. Peace is really, really bad for business. It's not funny, but it's true. Peace is really bad for business. The United States has evacuated the Kiev embassy. Every major European country is told their peeps to get the bleep out of Ukraine as fast as possible. This looks like a hardcore tail wags the dog situation, because this pandemic is, there's about that many people left in the world. There's still an enormous amount of number. People just, they're not, the fear is gone. I never had it to begin with. The fear is gone, and it's just, this is a tail wagging the dog. Here's something else as a serious issue. Most Americans really, people in South America too, just haven't got a clue of what Russia rolling into Ukraine would actually affect. It would affect a lot of stuff. But there's an extremely high likelihood, extremely high, that, and Russia has been famous for doing this in the past, as well as China, is that China would roll hard on, encircle Taiwan at the same time. This is pure abject speculation with no basis in proof. That I'm not a gambling person at all, but when Russia rolls on Ukraine hard, which they're going to do next week, with incredibly high likelihood, and that's not just the United States saying that, incredibly high likelihood, they're going to roll on Ukraine, that China will encircle Taiwan and do a soft capture. It's like, you're back in the fold. I don't take any position on Taiwan one way or the other, and I love Ukraine. Like I said, most Americans have never been to Ukraine. I could say I've been there twice. And most Americans can't say they've been to Russia. I lived there for a long time, and I speak Russian. Yeah, used to be русско-английский переводчик. За 101 штаты Америки. И ЦРУ. Translate that from the Russian. Тиснишь! Oh, I was going to mention, this is a direct quote from Vladimir Putin. I don't take a position on this one way or the other. That the worst thing that ever has happened was the breakup of the Soviet Union. Unquote. That's a direct quote from Vladimir Putin. Like I said, just from the perspective of Mother Russia, I could think of, this is a short list, I could think of 13 really, really, really good reasons why Russia wants Ukraine back in the fold. The Soviet Union is never going to exist again. And Russia doesn't care about Lithuania, Latvia, or Estonia, and they don't care about Kazakhstan. But one thing really, really is like, I'm not calling these countries warts. If you get your pinky finger cut off accidentally, whatever, you deal with it, no big deal. It's like, not really that necessary. These little countries. Some of them are not so little, but they're not significant or strategic. But when the бывшего Советского Союза, ты слышишь, lost Ukraine, that's like Mother Russia getting her right arm cut off. And Mother Russia wants her right arm back. It's just such unintelligent comments. These people don't understand Russia. They don't understand Russians. Like, why do they want Ukraine so bad? You know, it's like, I don't believe it's going to happen. It's like, it is going to happen. I've known it for decades. And upon the breakup of the Soviet Union, one country that they're going to get back, no matter who's president, Putin wasn't in all. I mean, I've known this before Putin ever went in there. One country they're going to get back and they want more than any other is Ukraine. Yeah, Ukraine. Yeah. It's never going to be Soyuz нерешимый. Soviet Union is no more. But the next best thing, not my opinion, this is a fact from the perspective of Mother Russia and the Russians, next best thing is getting Ukraine and Russia. Yeah, a little super glue right in there. Yeah, that's the next best thing. That's not my opinion, it's a fact. As someone who actually knows something about Russia and the Russians. So I find it actually shocking. Most of these people just haven't got a clue. It's like, why do they want Ukraine back? It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's ridiculous. Why? Well, there's a million reasons why. No. It's coming. Fill up your gas tank. I filled up my gas tank literally hours before the gas spiked. And that was just on the threat. Like I said, it's not just the United States saying this. Because I have so many people say, the United States is making this up. It's not going to happen. It's like, it's going to happen. And it ain't just the United States, okay? This is coming out of every major European country. It's going down. And it's going down very, 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 very soon. So, prepareth thyself. Yeah. Большое вам спасибо и увидимся.